evening, viewers out there. We're back again on your favorite TV program, Beauty and Brain. It's your humble presenter, Clem Pecky. And remember, here in Beauty and Brain, every brain is beautiful. So today, I will not be doing this alone. I have a guest in the studio with me as always, and we're going to be introducing him shortly. And today's topic is a very interesting one. It is all about self-discovery. Somebody mentioned earlier today that if you are an ego and you're raised in an environment where there are chicks, you cannot discover yourself. So we'll be hearing from this guest later on after we take this break from our sponsors. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere.
Audio Jungle.
All right, welcome back to your favorite TV program, Beauty and Brain with Clem Pecky. With me in the studio is a novel writer, prolific speaker, an artistic designer, and a musician, if I'm not mistaken. He is Mr. Undulue Okuchuku Augustine. Welcome to Beauty and Brain, sir.
Thank you very much, Ms.
Welcome.
Clem.
Say hi to the viewers.
Good evening to our viewers at home.
And they
It's a
greet you
wonderful
too.
privilege being here.
Nice
Thank
to
you.
have you here. Nice to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Okay, our topic today is all about self-discovery. And like I said earlier, somebody mentioned that if you're actually an ego, you cannot do well in the midst of chicks. So you'll be telling us later today how you think this is going to be necessary and how it's going to be possible for everyone out there. Because you first have to discover yourself before you can think of doing anything successful. That's where it comes in. Pursuing success has to be with self-discovery.
Yes.
So, Mr. Augustine, you're going to tell us, you're a successful man. From my perception, you're a successful man, and from things I've seen and heard about you, you're very successful. Can you tell us how your growing up was like? How was growing up like? How was it in the midst of your parents? Were they disciplinarians who really restricted you from doing certain things you would want to do? Or were they free persons that you could do whatever you wanted to do whenever you wanted to do it? Were there constraints? Were there limitations? Were there opportunities that passed by without you actualizing them? Let the viewers know how your growing up was like.
Okay. Once again, good evening to our viewers. Growing up, I was born in Enugu, and of course, an urban settlement before we migrated to Oka, also an urban settlement. And as a child, I believe children are, in quote, free birds. You don't know your limits. You have this idea of nature. You are one with nature. You're like a bird in the air or a fish in the sea. So you don't know your limits as a child. And the issue here is a blessing. At the same time, it's a problem. Because not knowing your limits, you can aspire to anything. You can aspire to become anything. And not knowing your limits at the same time, you might make mistakes. And that's where parents come in. Parenting is not about giving birth. It's more or less also about training and upbringing. So when I was growing up, I remember in the 90s, I was born in the early 90s. In the 90s, nursery school, primary school, in the early 2000s, I had a lot of influence from my parents. It was a Christian home. It
Okay.
still is. You wake up in the morning to pray, to sing.
Wow.
So most of the hymns I know up till today in Igbo and in English, I learned from them. And my early influence in music, I will also say, came from there. We had to play all these small instruments, and they taught us. They taught us, I must say that. And along the line, as a child, like I said, not knowing your limits, you want to try everything. Any song you listen to, you want to dance. Any implement or equipment you see around, you want to use it and know what it's all about. So I began to explore. I began to learn things as a child. I began to explore things. That's when most of the talents I have today, I discovered them as early enough. As early enough, I discovered them. So, be it drawing, or be it music, be it maybe writing to an extent, as early as possible, I discovered I could do these things. But at a point, I must say, my parents were not in support of one or two things. You know, when a parent, a father or mother sees the child always playing with biro, they see like you are wasting things. You are drawing on the parlor
Because
seat.
they know how much it costs to get those things.
Exactly.
Always.
You are drawing on the parlor seat. You are drawing on the wall. You are dirtying the environment. So they're always rebuking. They're trying to hinge you, place a limit to what you are going to do. Like I said, it's two-sided. It's a blessing. It's a problem. So growing up, I was beginning to see my limits as a child, but it didn't. I must say, it didn't. They didn't limit me to a point where it would affect my self-esteem. You understand? So some parents limit their children to that point, where the child is so afraid to ask questions, so afraid to express him or herself. So it didn't get to that point. So there were times, especially there was a point I was being restricted. I was using everything to draw.
Wow.
So marker, red biro, blue. So when my parents are not around, I will draw all I want. 20 leaves, wherever. I will draw anywhere. The moment they're back, I will hide all those things. So my dad, being a surveyor, had some other implements I could use, some of those cartographic biros. So I was using his implements once in a while. So when they're not around, I would do all those things. I was not being promiscuous, but they were not really aware that I was towing that line until when my talents were coming out, man, it could no longer be hidden. You know, going to school, coming back home with good grades in fine arts, in all those, crayon works. You were like, oh, so this young man has a future in this. And at that point, they started becoming supportive. So growing up, yes, my parents they still are disciplinarians, but not to the extent, I must add that clause, not to the extent where it would affect my self-esteem as a person.
Okay. In your family,
Yes.
how many are you in your family and what position are you?
We're five of us.
Oh.
I'm the fourth. We are 4 boys and a lady.
From everyone in the house, you've always had this vision to go into painting, because from what you've been saying, you've been painting, you've been sketching images on your own. Was there somebody in the house that motivated this thing in you, or you just have it in you? You've always had it inside of you.
Okay, thank you. I remember you made mention of the ego, that an ego cannot discover itself if it was raised among chicks. So I would say I'm lucky. I'm a very lucky person, because I grew up in an environment where I was synthesized to work hard. So about the art, as a case in point, I remember that day in 1999, if I'm correct, I was still very small. My oldest brother just came out in the compound. Those days, you didn't have so much of German floor. It was just normal soil. So he sketched a policeman on the ground, just on the ground right there. I saw it. It caught my fancy. I went there. Just beside his, I sketched mine, just with my index finger.
Wow.
So I sketched mine. Subsequently, in the succeeding weeks, succeeding months, that was all I kept doing. I would come back from school, sketch a policeman.
Because you've had that image registered in your
It was there already. So that was the starting point.
Okay.
From a policeman, I continued. In the evening, maybe my mother would be cooking out there or something. Once I see light reflecting on the ground, that ground automatically becomes maybe my drawing sheet, cardboard paper. So I didn't need a pencil. It's just my finger. That's HB pencil. So I would just start sketching. Shapes, horses, animals, anything around I could sketch. I was just sketching. So that was a big motivation.
Okay.
concerning the arts. So I had siblings, I had people around me whose lives motivated and synthesized me. So I had no option than to follow in line, than to work hard, than to try to push myself, to push my limits, to try to be better.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Augustine, from
Yes.
the data I collected about you, I am aware you read history.
Yes.
Why history? Why did you go into that? Why history of all other courses out there to study? Why did you choose it?
Well, uh, I love the way you brought it. Why history of all other courses?
Uh-huh.
I believe history is very important, and but that was not the actual reason why I went into history. From time as around 7 years, I began to notice that I was attracted to details. I asked so many questions as a child. Why is it that, for example, I would ask, why is it that the lizard, once it jumps down from the wall, will start nodding his head? I asked questions as basic as that. So I was very into details. So if I got into an environment, I would ask, okay, there are two buildings here. What was here before these buildings came? So because I was still a child, my parents may not, or my older ones may not tell me the full details. They may just give me a tale I could align with.
Yes.
So that being the case, my dad had a very big shelf, so many books all over the place. So, and because I was into drawing, I loved drawing. Some of those books had illustrations.
Okay.
So I would bring down some of them and start reproducing the drawings I saw in them, especially some of those old Bibles that had sketches. So from there, reading about the kings, the chronicles, all those things, I got interested. I went into some other bigger books, some other church history and all those things. There were so many of those history books in my father's shelf. As a little boy, I would pick them and start reading. Just the mere aspect of getting that knowledge was something else. I was learning a lot about society, learning a lot about the world in general, about Nigeria, about Igbo land, about so many places. So it stirred me up as a little child, as a boy. So getting into secondary school, I had no idea I was going to study history. I had no idea I was going to study history. And when I my third jump actually, yes, my third
You
jam.
sat jam
Three
three
times,
times.
yes.
Wow.
3 times. The third one, funnily enough, the third one was where I scored the lowest. And that was when I finally got admission.
Wow.
So I went for another course, which I wouldn't mention, but finally I got history. So everything came flashing back. It was like I had gone a circle. Same things I loved as a child, but finally coming back to do in the university. So that was how I got into history, and I didn't do badly in school at all.
Okay.
I did well.
That's in the line of history.
In the line of history, I didn't do badly. So while doing history too, I didn't forget my art, and somehow both of them,
Are intertwined.
yes, my art, okay, my history, my knowledge of history helped my art. Okay, so there were some works I would get into, maybe the abstract paintings about the world, about wars, about political unrest and all those things. So my idea of history really influenced my art. Up to today, it still does.
Were there any kind of discouragement or obstacles that would have hindered your pursuing your academic pursuit? Because most times, most persons find it difficult to achieve or attain that height they want to get to because of biological hindrances or environmental obstacles. Were there any of such while you were pursuing your historical ambition?
Okay, I'm trying to search. I think there will be one or two, but something just came to my mind.
Okay.
In our society where I come from, everybody wants to be a doctor. Everyone wants to be an engineer, a lawyer.
Yes, those
Those
are
are
the
the
primary
men.
ones.
If you are not there, you are nowhere.
You are nowhere.
So I coming out in a family where everybody was either a doctor or an engineer, coming out to say this is what you want to do. Of course, you'd expect some level of opposition. And there were oppositions. My parents were not very comfortable with the idea at first. So it was up to me to prove them wrong. Not as if I designed to prove them wrong, but it was up to me to succeed in what I was getting into.
Oh, yes.
So that somehow they will get to believe that I'm not making a mistake. I wouldn't want us to think that parents, when they begin to oppose some pursuit, is because they don't like us or something. No, they want the best for us.
Yes.
And they're telling us to get into this because they believe it will be better. So it's left for us in proving them wrong to allay those fears that they're having. So there were one or two occasions where my parents were not really happy, where they resisted, where they insisted, okay, we want you to be an engineer, we want you to be an architect or this or that. Yes, there were occasions as that. And at the end of the day, when I got into history and started writing, started producing things, and people were commending, you understand? So when they were having testimonies in quote from outside, people were telling them about, oh, this is your child. I saw his work somewhere. So they love, parents love that.
Yes.
They love to see their children doing well.
Especially when you're not going the wrong way.
Exactly.
Yes.
So when that began to happen, they got comfortable with the whole idea. They began to support. And I want to confess that their support has been immense. Whenever I see them at every opportunity, I just thank them for the support. Their support has been immense. Thank you.
I am very sure that your parents and siblings are watching you right now and they've heard your thank you. And that thank you is not going to end in a distant time. Okay, we are still on to Beauty and Brain on your favorite TV station, Eagles Television International. Remember, here in Beauty and Brain, every brain is beautiful. Don't go anywhere. Sit right back while we take a message from our sponsors.
Audio Jungle. Audio Audio Jungle.
All right, you're welcome back to your favorite TV show, Beauty and Brain, where every brain is beautiful with Klempeki. This is your favorite TV station, Eagles Television, and I'm still with my guest in the studio. He's Mr. Augustine Okochukwu Udulue. He's a historian, a writer, a prolific artistic designer, and a speaker. He was just talking about his experience as those hindrances that are quite responsible for holding some persons back towards attaining their academic pursuits. But he has explained his path and how he was able to overcome all these things he did not mention. So, Mr. Augustine, can you tell us, despite all of these hindrances and the limitations, you were still able to strive and you emerged successful? Because from what I gathered about you, you're a very successful man. I wouldn't know how you will rate yourself about that later, but I know you're very successful. So can you tell us what those things that kept you going were? Just let us know. We know everyone must have those limitations and hindrances. You are not exceptional. So can you tell us those things that kept you going, that kept pumping you as a power force that made you to just keep going?
Okay, I love the question, but first let me say that success is a subjective opinion.
Okay,
I think
that's very
I'm
true.
just work in progress.
Okay.
Well, in spite of all odds, of course there are so many odds, in spite of all odds, you're bound to meet a lot of them. The fact is, at some point I asked myself some very personal questions. People are making names for themselves.
Yes.
There's some courses you study. You have a title prefixed before your name. Doctor this, engineer that,
Barrister,
somebody and all those other things. So, but then there are some persons who don't have such prefixes.
Yes.
in the olden days, Bible times, people got names either by where they came from or by what they did.
Yes.
You'd have Jesus of Nazareth, Elijah the Tishbite,
Okay.
or Amos, the herdsman of Tekoa. You have some John the
And the
Baptist,
rest of
Simon
them.
the Tanner. Thank you.
Okay.
So at the point I asked myself that question. So what would I be known for? What would I be known for?
That's a very powerful question.
Would I
to
just
ask.
continue like this? Would I just keep on moving around? I need to find a base. I need to put my legs into the ground and put a foundation
Yes.
that this is what this person is known for. So the idea of role models is quite impressive, but there's this idea I have that when people ask me who's your role model, I tell them my role model is myself in 10 years' time.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And funnily enough, I will never get to meet that role model because he's always ahead of me.
Of course.
So myself in 10 years' time, I hope he's a better person. I'm working to be like him. I have created an image in my head. This is who I want him to look like.
Okay. Sorry, can you give us a picture of that, your future role model?
Okay. So, let me finish up on one or two things before I create him.
All right.
Now, so okay. I wouldn't give you all the details. It's just some things are personal to me. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but then I asked myself, of course, he wouldn't be like me, he would be better. He'll be a better speaker, be a better artist, he'll be a better singer, he'll be a better everything.
Writer.
Understand? So, as I'm going towards him, I don't even know what he looks like exactly. And the fact is, in 10 years' time, my role model will still be myself in 10 years' time. In another 10 years. Are you getting it? So, there's always a 10 years ahead.
Okay.
So, it's just like a 10-year plan. A 10-year plan. Next year, my role model will still be myself in another 10 years. So when I get to a 10 years, there's another 10 years. So
you have
it's a plan for progress.
Yes.
I will never get to a point where I tell myself I have arrived. I have this view that perfection and improvement do not exist in the same room. Something that is perfect cannot be improved upon.
Of course.
And something that can improve, we can't call it perfect.
Exactly.
So that's why I believe as an individual, I'm work in progress. So that said, I asked myself that question, where do I want to be? What do I want to be known for? I need an identity. I can't come into a house, like I told you, I grew up in an environment where everybody had a name. All my siblings, the 4 of them, they're either doctors or engineers.
Okay.
So I come into the house, engineer, that doctor, this doctor, that. And there is that other guy. You understand the idea?
That
has no title. So, but these days, when people come to our house, maybe our family house at home, and people visit or are talking about my house, they will say, okay, where is the artist? Somebody might ask, where is the artist? Or where is that one that writes? There's an attribute.
Yes. And that's what you've always wanted.
I'm not stopping at that, but I just want, first of all, I wanted to be known for something.
Yes.
So if you are not known for something, you just be anywhere. You just be fluttering like whirlwind. So I got a niche for myself, got somewhere, got a name kind of. So and that's just the starting point. So not as if I've gotten to my destination. It's still work in progress. So that was just a big push for me.
Also gathering from your data, I got to know that your photographs were actually sketched by you. That is, you do paintings.
Yes.
And you also do wildlife photography.
Yes.
Can you tell us what motivated you to that line? And why you do them? Why do you do them?
Okay.
Your wildlife photography and your paintings. Why that?
Okay, let me put it this way. I love life. And when I say life, I don't mean about when people say living their best life and all those things, inside life and all those ideas.
If I get it, you love nature.
I love nature. I love life. That's nature. The idea that you see fish in the water, it doesn't have a bank account, it doesn't have a PhD, it's just there. One with that water, you see a bird in the air. Early in the morning, it's singing that beautiful tune. You see the mountains, the animals, and all those things. They're just being protected and provided for by God. That idea of nature. I love life. So, and I believe if humans can be in tune with nature in that way too, life will be better, more enjoyable. So, why I got into wildlife photography, not as if I'm getting into it because of wealth or anything. If anything comes out of it in terms of finance, fine and good. But
Yeah.
I want to make a statement. The best pictures are the pictures we don't pose for.
That we don't pose.
We don't pose for. The
Okay.
best pictures are the pictures we don't pose for.
Okay. Why are the best?
I noticed most times you are trying to meet up an image, you are posing, you are trying to fit what you want to be nice. So you might close one eye or bend one leg or something, trying to pose, saying cheese and all that. But the pictures that you are taking of, when, for example, unawares, you are not expecting it, you are just smiling, you're just in tune, happy with yourself, someone just took it. Most times are the best. And animals don't pose,
Okay.
flowers don't pose,
Exactly.
trees don't pose, the sunset don't pose. These things are things that have, like they say in church, from the beginning it was not so. These are things that have been there from the beginning. The sunset is like nature's best selfie. If you see the sunset in a good mountain, you're just happy, in tune with yourself. So I just want to make a statement that people should be less complex. Life should be simple. Let's not think that maturity is when you become complex, when you are so hateful, when you are so angry at everything, when you are so, when you are so complicated that makes you mature. No, be free. If something pains you, cry. If something makes you
Amuses
happy,
you
laugh.
laugh it out,
Just
yes.
be free, be one with nature, be in tune with nature. That's what drew me into wildlife photography. I can go into the bush, see two ants trying to cross the path, the way they will meet, exchange greetings, kind of, and move on. And I ask myself, why is it that people can't do the same? Two drivers are on the road, they meet themselves. Do you know who I am? They're already fighting, that kind of thing. So a lot of things I learned from nature, so I decided to start capturing them.
Okay.
So I have one or two collections already, and I hope to get into it more.
Okay.
Yes.
That's very nice.
Thank
And
you.
what's that where you have some books? I've read one of your books. That's the isolated pawn.
Yes, the revolt of the isolated
revolt of the
pawn.
isolated
Yes, like
pawn.
chess game.
Yes, that book play. It's
Yes.
very interesting. It's a
Yes.
good one. A good
Thank
work
you.
you have there. How many books have you written so far? How many books have you
Well,
published?
I've published two. I have some other unpublished manuscripts.
Okay, say in total, how many
In
books
total,
do
I
you have?
have, give and take, about 7.
7. Wow,
Yes, I
that's
published
huge.
2. Published 2, yes.
Okay, which is the first? Which did you do first?
Published or unpublished?
Anyone, which one did you
Okay,
write first?
I wrote the Heroes of the Wine Bottle.
Heroes of the Wine Bottle.
Yes, I think it was the prophet Jeremiah or Isaiah who was talking about it, about the priests in Israel who were corrupt, and he addressed them as heroes of the wine bottles. So that's what I took as the title of that book. I was trying to portray the issues we are having in the 21st century church, and the corruption, how and why most people lose focus along the line and everything. So that was what motivated me to write that. That was in 2012 or thereabout. Then the next one, Serpents of the Blizzard Night.
That's
Serpents,
the second.
the second, yes. So
Serpent of the Blizzard.
Blizzard Night. So serpents in a blizzard night. Blizzard, you can't see clearly.
Yes, yes.
So it's just like we are walking in a blizzard and there are serpents. So the contemporary society,
Okay.
the youth, how can a young person survive in this generation? Remain focused in this generation. So that was what the book was all about. Then I have this other one, Sahelian Nights. I've not really done much on that, but I'm still working on it. I have let me just not mention all when they
Okay.
come out.
Okay.
But the published ones, I have Revolt of the Isolated Pawn.
Pawn,
It's set in 18th century France. If you're a historian, you know about the French Revolution,
Okay.
1789, and how Napoleon Bonaparte came to power and everything. So I adopted some of the themes of that event in history and wrote them down. The central theme is more or less should our fear of anarchy prevent us from seeking for a better society? If we are to choose between anarchy and tyranny, which one would we survive better under? So that was the central theme of that play. Then the next book, which came out March,
Also published.
published, yes, March this year, which I titled On the Road from Valhalla.
Okay, Valhalla.
Yes.
Is it Valhalla or Valhalla?
Valhalla, you know the spelling
Okay,
Valhalla.
Valhalla.
Yes.
Okay.
So in Norse mythology, that's their heaven, in quote, the
Oh,
underworld.
okay.
So all those Scandinavians, some of those civilizations, some of the Norsemen that lived there, so they believed that the afterlife is a place called Valhalla. So I portrayed a scenario where some old historical characters, Aristotle and the likes, we are coming back from that Valhalla back to our reality.
Okay.
And they encountered so many civilizations, encountered some of the problems we face even in this generation. So I tried to fix up those things, and I was asking myself, how would somebody like Aurelius Augustine see my generation? How would I explain governance? How would I explain, say, the aeroplane to somebody like Galileo,
Okay.
to somebody like Dante, that kind of thing? So, how would they see democracy as being practiced now? For example, in Nigeria,
Yes.
how would they describe the far left movement, the hyper liberals, as I call them? How would they describe nationalism? How would they see these things, and what would they have to say? So that was what motivated me to write that. Well, it's still a series. That's the
Okay.
first book.
Okay.
Others will come out
Oh,
subsequently.
beautiful. Beautiful. Amongst all your literature books,
Yes.
which is your favorite?
Well, the one I'm still going to write.
No wonder. That brings to my head now your future role model.
Yes.
Okay, the best is yet to come. That's
Of
what
course.
it's trying to say. Okay, we'll be going on a break now, and you're going to see some of Mr. Augustine Okuchukwu Undule's work of art. You will see them displayed on your TV shortly. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. All right, esteemed viewers, you're still on your favorite TV show, Beauty and Brain with Clem Pecky, on your favorite TV station, Eagles Television International. We are still here with our guests, and right about now, we're going to dive into the topic of today, self-discovery. Mr. Augustine Okuchukwu Undule will be leading us on that path on how to discover yourself before dreaming of attaining success. Stay tuned and enjoy. Mr. Augustine Okujule, what do you have to say about this topic, self-discovery?
Okay, first of all, it reminds me of so many things. The voyages of discovery.
Okay.
You know, Christopher Columbus, Mungo Park, and the likes. And when you tell people self-discovery, it's like a paradox. This is me. Do I still need to discover myself? So, but then, it's just like artificial intelligence. It's just like a material or a product. Every product has a manual and has a maker. And that's why I believe the first step, from my own personal experience, the first step towards discovering, that self-discovery is not just knowing what you can do or what you can't do. It's about knowing why you are here.
Yes.
Knowing why you are here in this generation at this time. Why didn't I come to
Before
this
now.
earth, say, in the 16th century?
Okay.
Understand? knowing why you are here, why you are in this family, why you are in this state, why all those other details are very important. The first step is to connect to your maker.
Connecting to the maker.
That's
okay.
the first step.
All right.
Because like I said, every product has a manual. So God knows why you are here more than anybody else, more than your parents that want you to be a doctor, an engineer, or whatever. He knows. So first thing first, you should be at peace with God. You should have a working relationship with God.
Okay.
I'm not saying you must be a pastor, a prophet, but have a working relationship with God. That's first thing first. And He will guide you. When you have a working relationship with Him, He will guide you. He put you here for a purpose. You are an implement.
Yes.
You are a pencil in His hands. He wants to make a wonderful work out of
exactly.
you. So that's the first step. Then I'm talking from my own personal experience.
Of course, we'll hear from you.
The next thing is understanding that you can't be everything.
How do you mean?
You can't be everything. Particularize. Some persons, the reason why some persons find life very frustrating is because in one lifetime they want to be Michael Jackson, they want to be Celine Dion, they want to be Leonardo da Vinci,
At the same
they
time.
want to be actor, they want to be everything at the same time. You just have one lifetime.
Yes.
You can't be everything.
At all.
So at that point, you look at your life. What are the things? You move from the things you can do before you start talking of the things you can't do.
Yes.
Okay? Look at yourself. What are the things I can do?
Then you begin to work on them.
Exactly. For example, imagine you slept and you just woke up. You saw yourself in a garden. You can see a rake in one hand, a watering can in the other hand. What does that tell you?
That.
You're a gardener. You're a florist.
Yes.
Understand? So you have asked yourself that question. What can I do? What can I do? Understand? So the moment you answer that question, okay, I can do this, I can do that. Try assessing those ones you can do. Try developing them. Because in life, there is no neutral ground. You are either improving or you are decreasing. You are either stepping up or you are stepping down. So there is no neutral ground. If you don't work on the things you can do, sooner than later, you may not be very good at them anymore. That's just the fact. You keep retrogressing.
Yes.
So you have no choice than to keep improving.
Okay.
You understand? So check the things you can do. Start doing them. Keep doing them. Like myself, sometimes maybe if I don't get some works, maybe a commission portrait or whatever, on my own, I can just go out there, get some materials, start drawing things on my own to keep my hands up to date.
Yes.
Understand? So try the things you can do. Then there's this saying, you cannot know what you can do until you try what you haven't done.
Done before. Exactly.
So there are some other things you can do you are not aware of.
Yes.
That's where this one comes in. You assessing other things, trying out other things. I know I don't like swimming. I hate the idea of a river or water or whatever.
Okay.
So you understand? But one day I went to one beach, this river, and I saw a canoe. It was a commercial kind of thing. So I paid him. I had to conquer that fear. Went into that boat. The person I went in with was shaking and making noise and all that. I told myself, even if I sink, I just want to gain this experience.
Okay.
You understand? So I went in there and I gained the experience, and it's something I'm beginning to love.
Oh.
You understand? You might never know. You might love that thing you are scared of. You understand?
Yes.
So 2 weeks ago, so I was telling someone I want to get into this long distance racing. You understand? Long distance racing. And the person was laughing. So I told myself quite recently, okay, in secondary school I used to run long distance, right? So what stops me from aspiring to compete in the next Olympics? It's a huge dream, isn't it?
Yes.
But what if I start training again? What if I get back to what I used to do? Because I used to run long distance in secondary school, you know. What if I try it out again? So check what you can do. Try what you can't do. Over time, you're able to have it all on your table.
Exactly.
You have seen the things you are good at.
Yes.
You are now defining yourself at that point. Okay? You're now defining yourself without Mr. This or Miss That. This is a Tanner, Simon the Tanner. This is that. You know, you are able to give yourself an identity at that point.
Then you have discovered.
You have discovered this is who you are, and you keep on improving on those things, those attributes, those things you can do to make a better you.
Yes.
You know, yourself in 10 years' time, that kind of thing. So that's the main idea.
Okay. You're still on with Beauty and Brain on your favorite TV program with Klempeki. Here, every brain is beautiful, and we're still discussing self-discovery with Mr. Augustine Udule Okuchuku. Permits me to call your name the way I know how to call it best.
All right.
Okay. All right. Right about now, we've been talking about self-discovery, and I think it's my time to let you know my little part of discovering yourself. You see, as a child or as a youth out there is no limit to which you can attain success. It is an ongoing thing. The best thing to know is to know your foundation. Like Mr. Augustine said earlier, it's like self-discovering your purpose, making your relationship a working one with God, making yourself available to be worked upon. That's the basis of it all. If you know what you can do and you feel you really love to do it, but there is something holding you back from doing it, there are people out there you can meet. There are people out there who are ready to lift you to that position you wish to attain. So what does this mean? It means that you still have a chance to become that you want to become. Here in Beauty and Brain, where every brain is beautiful, whether you're attaining success by way of academic pursuits or by skill acquisition, success is success. So try and do something today. Get yourself busy and get something doing. You're still on with me, and we're still going to be taking questions from our Instagram angle with Klempeki at Beauty and Brain. You can reach us there. Follow our Instagram handle, Klempeki Beauty and Brain. There you can drop your questions. You can reach us from there. You can reach us for sponsorship and contact us for advertisement. We are still here for you here on Eagles Television International. Till we'll come your way again next week on this same program, Beauty and Brain with Klempeki, where every brain is beautiful, where you will have other dignitaries coming our way next week. Don't mix out. Be with us and keep a date with us next week. Till then, I remain Clementina Opolegbe Klempeki, and with me in the studio is still Mr. Augustine Okuchuku Undule. Thanks for having us, and we're glad to have
Thank
you
you
here.
very much. Thank you very much. Pleasure
We hope
is
to
mine.
see better faces next week. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Bye for now.